Hey everyone, and welcome to Open Class 94. And guess who's with me in the studio? Neil, welcome.
Hey there, Daniel. How you doing?
I'm good. Always nice seeing you. How's life treating you?
Pretty good. So
All
far,
right.
so good.
All right. Very cool. Well, this is Open Class, and we have a bunch of questions to go over. As always, nothing here is medical advice, just me and Neil sharing just general thoughts and comments that we hope will help anyone who tunes in. So yeah, let's just jump right in here and look at the first. Actually, the first one is a quick one that I'll answer. It's just John asks, I have a problem with insomnia some nights. Your self-coaching master program, does your program cover CBTI? Since that is what they call the gold standard. That is what I'm looking for. If so, how much training does it entail? How many videos and how long? Does your program offer email questions to a particular sleep problem or look at a sleep diary? When I read this first, I thought it's going to be a very quick question, but I think that this is actually, there's a room for a lot of discussion here, actually, that we should do. So let me just start, John, by sharing to you and anybody else who wonders that the content of this program, which is the web-based program, it's a group coaching program. So there are videos similar to the ones that I make here, but laid out in a kind of logical fashion. And then there's a Slack channel where you can post comments to myself and other people in the group as well. And we meet once a week like this, like Zoom-based, and have like a video-based class. But the question was here, like, is this CBTI based? Is there sleep diary? What's going on? Well, here's the thing that when I started this channel, I thought like CBTI is kind of the gold standard and it's the best and that's what you should do. But then I've really discovered there are a lot of problems with CBTI. And actually, I'll go to you, Neil. There, are you familiar with this at all, or what are your thoughts on this? Did you ever try CBTI, or what are your thoughts?
Well, kind of. I mean, I tried the sleep restriction, which I'll tell you, I think that a lot of methods, especially that you made after, were based on, the foundation was CBTI. If you go originally, I think, right, getting up at the same time every morning, going to sleep around the same hour, not allowing yourself a lot of time in bed because, as we know, it creates a lot of anxiety. So the problems that I found, I mean, I tried it. Actually, at the beginning, I tried the classical CBTI. And I felt like I was going too hard on myself because, there are strict rules. And the idea is try to let go and not to add, more rules or more, guidance that you might find that might, create more anxiety. And I did it for, I think that if we talk about classic CBTI, it fits some people. I think that it depends on the character. It depends for some, I think that for some people go straight with, strict CBTI would be good for them. But for other people, it might cause, that's my opinion, a lot of maybe more anxiety or more pressure. Because there are rules, and if you feel like you didn't go by the rules, it's like, oh, so I'm not doing it again, and then you judge yourself again. And we want to get to a place where you have self compassion when you feel guilt with yourself, and then I missed an hour, I was up an hour later, I took a nap, whatever. All these things that people that deal with insomnia might have, and this is what I had, and with time, as a foundation, it could be good, but I think each person should do the fine tuning, working with his coach or whatever, doing the fine tuning to reach the formula that fits him. So this is what I think.
Yeah, I agree, and ultimately, I think there's different paths to it, and when you say the formula fits them, I know a lot of people will be like, what's the formula, well, that's the point. That's different for everyone.
Subjective.
But ultimately, like, where it leads to where you want to be is kind of freedom, where there are no rules. You just sleep well, and you don't think about it at all.
Exactly.
And that's where the tricky thing with CBTI is that it's very based on, like, you should only spend 6 hours in bed. Don't go to bed. Don't do this. Don't do that. Calculate how much you slept. Calculate sleep efficiency, which can, for many people, be problematic. So before we maybe jump to another question, I want to say that we don't use any like sleep diary. It's up to you if you want to keep track of how you feel during the day, which can be helpful because you can find that you can feel good even if you sleep little. That's can be helpful with a sleep diary, but otherwise we don't keep one. And one more thing, which was the gold standard. I think this is problematic because it's, when you read research papers and generally it's like CBTI is like the gold standard, the best, and it's like the effectiveness is like 70%, which it's kind of sounds attractive, but it's tricky because when you have a number, you're like, oh, 70% do well. Oh no, I'm going to be in the 30%, and like, oh no, and so
Right.
I think the gold standard, if anything, is freedom. Like the gold standard is almost like nothing when you don't
Right.
when you understood everything, right?
Yeah, I see CBTI as a stage because think about someone that has insomnia, okay, needs control all the time, calculate the hours, thinking about sleep all day. And what CBTI is doing is like a stage between where you are to freedom. It's like it tells you, okay, you cannot let go, you cannot stop checking the clock. Whatever, if as a coach, if you work with someone, you can tell, whatever I tell you, you're going to check the clock anyway because it's stronger than you right now because you're thinking about sleep a lot. So then CBTI might fit because then you're going to go, okay, you want to count the hours? All right, but these are the rules. And then maybe CBTI can be a stage to a better place. And when someone is practicing CBTI and having a sleeping diary and so on, try to, let go one rule by the other with time to get to a place where you feel free and you don't. And sleep is not an issue. At the end of the day, I think it was the last episode that you did that I commented on. All of us, we want to get to a place, something that I thought of with anxiety. If someone suffers from any anxiety, because all the anxiety feels the same, it depends. The trigger might be different, but anxiety is anxiety. Now, the idea with anxiety, because you want to tell your brain or the anxiety, I'm here, I hear you, okay? I don't ignore you. Sometimes I'll tell my anxiety, let's say when I suffered from insomnia a lot and I was trying to sleep, and then I would tell myself, okay, right now it's 2 a.m., from now on until when I still check the clock and I cared, until 3 a.m., you're not going to sleep. Put the anxiety aside. You don't need anxiety because you're not trying to sleep. Take 1 hour for yourself, all right? You can close your eyes, not close your eyes, whatever. Take 1 hour. It doesn't matter. Let's say you gave up on sleep. You're not going to sleep tonight. You have a lot of anxiety. You feel it. You know it. You had nights like that. You're not going to sleep. Take this 1 hour between, I'm just giving it an example, 2 to 3 a.m., not to sleep, okay? You're not going to sleep in this hour. What you're going to do is close your eyes and tell the anxiety, I know you're here. I'm going to get back to you. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I'm going to stay with you, okay? I'm back. Don't go anywhere. Just, I want a 1 hour break. I'm not going to sleep. 1 hour break and I'm back at you. And then most of the times I fell asleep.
Exactly.
Because, sleep is a stage in resting. It's not, it cannot be a goal because sleep, you don't go to sleep, you go to rest, okay? Rest. And then sleep is just a stage. It's something that happens when you go to rest and not to sleep. You're not trying to get, because when you go to sleep, you try to jump into the deeper level of resting, which is impossible because you're not supposed to get there. You're supposed to rest. And then if you're rested and you're not hyper aroused, sleep will happen because it's a stage of rest. I think, am I clear? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense.
Right.
Like, and I think you bring up a good point because like if somebody goes to bed with the purpose of like, I'm now going to bed to intend to sleep, then it's probably not going to happen. If you go like, I'm just going to lay down, rest and see what happens,
always the intention.
Yeah. Now, I think now I want to go on a little side track here. But the episode that you saw, was that the one about like that self-critical hammer and that, or was it the one about medication?
I think the one. I think I first I watched both of them, but I think that the one, the previous one, not the last one, but the one.
Yeah, the one. I thought so too. But I just randomly want to share like this anecdote that came to me, and you've talked a lot about this too. But I remember when I was in medical school, and there was this guy in my class, and he said like, why I always feel like, why as medical student you always feel so inferior is because you do these rotations. You're with a nephrologist, then you're with an endocrinologist, and you take all their knowledge, all the knowledge of all these subspecialists, and combine them into this one super doctor who knows everything, and compare yourself to that one.
Right.
Yeah. And then of course you're never going to be anywhere close to that. And that super doctor doesn't exist. It's not real. But it creates this,
Exactly.
like you talked about, this ideal you and the where you are, and you're like, how can I ever get there, right?
Yeah, and anxiety is always on the distance or the dissonance the dissonance between who you think you are, or what you think you should be, how you think you should act, what you think is normal, or what you know what you think, where you think you should be, right? What you anticipate from yourself to where you really are. Now, again, it always gets back to mindfulness for me, and Buddha, in Buddhism in some way, but because it's all quiet, it's all flat, and the wheel, it's always the wheel. I want to, when it comes to sleep, I want to sleep better. Okay, what should you do? Now the answer, sorry, is nothing. Now if you're gonna try, now here comes the dissonance, but if I'm not doing anything, it's gonna help me to sleep. Oh, so I'll try to do nothing. No, you cannot try to do nothing. To do nothing, you have not to do anything. To try not to do is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an action. Try not to do anything. It's an action. You want to be in a place where it's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. It's not even an issue in your life. And like any anxiety, think about it. People that have any fear from anything, when it's a non-issue, when they face the fear, I don't know, you're afraid from heights, and then all of a sudden you jump from an airplane. Okay, wow! I didn't believe I can do it. I didn't sleep for 3 days because of I was excited and so on, and then all of a sudden, hey, I'm alive. I want to do it again, right? Right? The same thing. When you look fear in his eyes, this is what fear is. Anxiety is like a fear, but it's from something that is irrational. You're afraid that you won't sleep. Why? I mean, nothing will happen. So don't sleep. Don't sleep for 2-3 days. See nothing happens, and then say, "All right, it was just an anxiety. It's not. It's your head telling stories."
Dissonance. That's a very good word. I'm going to use that more often. Perfect. Well, so John, I hope that made sense to you, and we will proceed with the next question, which is from Diana. Hi, Coach Diana. My question is: no matter what, I cannot achieve deep restorative sleep. I have been and worked through numerous sleep coaches. I truly do not do anything anymore to help me sleep. No sleep efforts. I simply go to bed very tired. I sleep, but rarely is it a deep sleep. I just keep thinking there's something wrong with my brain. Any insightful tips you might have are greatly appreciated. Thank you. I actually have something, I think, let me start on this one, because I have this at the tip of my brain. I have to really share this one. And I will say this is so common. And where this goes for me is there. Like, how do you know that your sleep is not restorative, right? You were thinking the same thing probably. How do you know that your sleep is not restorative? Well, you don't, it's not, you don't really know anything about your sleep except how you feel the following day. So when you feel unrefreshed, tired, fatigued, you assume that is because you didn't have deep restorative sleep. And where that leads you is one of the many loops of insomnia, which is like, I don't have restorative sleep, therefore I need to get more restorative sleep. So therefore I need to get more REM sleep or more deep sleep. And therefore you try to do that, and therefore you don't sleep well, and therefore you don't feel refreshed, and therefore you try something wrong, etc., etc. And so that can be a loop, really a loop. But another part of this, which I think for you may be more helpful, is this one, that so with insomnia, it is wakefulness is kind of the threat, the enemy, the thing you want to get away from. And when you see that there's nothing there, you sleep better. But the same thing can apply to so many other things, particularly emotions. Anxiety is an emotion that we don't want to have often. When we want to make it go away, we get more of it. And guess what? Fatigue is an emotion. It's an emotion. Like, there is physical fatigue, which is very straightforward. You run, you feel rested. And when you rest, good. But fatigue is an emotion. So when you do this, when you go towards like, okay, fatigue acts like an emotion. So the more I want it to go away, the more sticky it's going to become. And you go towards, okay, I'm going to be okay with the fatigue. I'm going to befriend the fatigue. I'm not going to try to find a way to escape it. Then magic happens. That is my thinking here. But what do you think, Neil?
Can you bring back the email?
Yeah, of course.
It was
From
Diana,
yeah.
right?
It was Diana, yeah.
And she wrote, where was that? Hi, Coach Daniel, and so on, restorative sleep. I have been and worked through nervous sleep. Can you down a little bit?
Yeah.
And then there, okay. but rarely. Okay, and then she says, no sleep effort. I simply go to bed very tired and I sleep, but rarely in a deep sleep. Now, you, Diana, writing this email still means that you are dealing with sleep. The fact that this email exists, okay, means that you are still thinking about sleep, or how, someone that never had insomnia. Everybody has bad nights, right? They didn't sleep well, or I don't know, or slept well, or it doesn't feel restored, whatever. The idea is he's not going to think about it, right? He's going to go by his day, be tired, I'll sleep next night. It's not even going through his head. You want to be in a place where it's a non-issue. The fact that you're writing, Daniel, I don't, simply, I don't, what was it? I don't have any sleep effort. You just wrote an email. It's a sleep effort. You're dealing with it. You're trying to find a solution because you're asking a question. Okay, as long as you ask, which is great, right? Ask Daniel questions, but we want to get to a place. You want to get to a place where you don't need anyone. You just sleep because you don't deal with it. Sleep will happen when you ignore it. When it's not even ignore it. You ignore something that is an issue. You want it to be a non-issue. And writing this email and dealing with it, you still have sleep-related thoughts. As long as you write an email about sleep, it means that you have thoughts about sleep. And these thoughts makes you feel fatigued and hyperaroused. And maybe you really don't sleep deep. I don't know. I mean, nobody knows what happens during sleep. But maybe you really do not sleep very deep because you're hyperaroused because of all the sleep-related thoughts that you had all day, right? You say to yourself, I don't have any sleep efforts. I don't deal with sleep. Okay? It's like, saying no about something is saying the something, right? When you say, I'm not afraid, you just said afraid. So you know what I mean? When you say no about something, you said the something, which means you have some kind of a relationship with whatever it is. All right, I don't have any sleep efforts, okay, which means you are still dealing with sleep. You want to get to a place where it doesn't matter. Okay, so you're tired. So what? So be tired. Sometimes I'm hungry. Okay, I don't have food next to me, even though we don't know with food it's something that you can find a solution. Just eat, right? And with sleep, the idea is as much as you deal with sleep, think about sleep. It's always the same thing. Sleep will be harder. Deep sleep, any sleep, will be harder to get because you're chasing it, right? Okay, I didn't do anything. Now what's going on? How come I don't sleep? But I didn't do anything. Now you did. You were not doing anything. You know what I mean? Okay, I don't know. Find other things in life that you enjoy. Go do them, and sleep will happen by itself when you won't think about it. That's my
it's exactly right. And I think that when Diana hears this, you may think, Diana, but how am I gonna if you're telling me not doing anything, how am I gonna feel more restored? And I think that again becomes like when you're okay with not being restored, when you're kind of like
when it doesn't matter.
When it doesn't matter, if you will, exactly. That then everything becomes very peaceful and nice. So yeah. Okay, Dan, I hope that helped, and stay in touch. Let us know if you have follow-up questions to this one. We will move on to Dawn, who's a real friend of the channel. Has been supporting us for a long time. Dawn says, "Hi, Daniel. Hope you're keeping well. I am. Thank you. It's me again, Dawn. Just a quick question, if you don't mind. Not at all. I recently just opened my business back up after being closed for 4 months due to the lockdown. Now, since I've opened up, I've been really busy, which is obviously a good thing. The problem is I've got so much anxiety, especially at night, hyperarousal, thinking about running a business again. I'm having trouble sleeping quite a lot. I know it's just hyperarousal, as I'm so educated from you. But how can I get past this, as I've woken up a couple of times at night with fear, dread, sweating, and palpitation from anxiety, etc., and unable to get back to sleep? I slept so well when I was in lockdown and didn't have any pressure at work. How can I overcome this? Thanks for taking the time to listen. Again, Daniel, much appreciated. Kind regards, Dawn. Anytime, Dawn. Very, very glad that you are, in touch and sharing this. Although, of course, I'm not glad to hear about the struggles you're going through. But I'll let you go first, Neil. What are your thoughts when you hear this message?
Okay, so first you say that you know Dawn for a while, so I guess there were other emails that I didn't read, because if I would read only this email, I wouldn't even put it on Insomnia, because this email, you know, Dawn is describing that he has pressure from his business, which if you know, maybe you find yourself a whole day without eating because of the pressure. I don't know what is the business, but you know, any pressure, anything that causes pressure might interrupt our sleep. Insomnia is, I don't even know if Don ever had insomnia. I guess you, Daniel, knows, but the idea is what he's describing in this email is not classic insomnia, because he has pressure. He knows where the pressure comes from. It's not from the fact that he doesn't sleep, but it's from what he describes, but it's from his business, right? Because during lockdown, I slept well, and you still have lockdowns there?
I think this is in the UK. They have I don't know. They have had a lot of back and forth there, but
what's going on in the US?
oh, we you know, in my state, they've eased up on it. We still have some restrictions, but not lockdown for sure.
All right, we all got 2 shots, and that's it.
I know. Israel is like on the front lines, like, you know.
Yes, there is a reason for that, but we'll do another webinar. I'll explain you exactly why. Yeah, there are a lot of reasons for that, but yes, we're all free to do whatever here. So, but back to what Don described. I think the pressure came from the business, because he describes it. You slept well during lockdown, and now you have a lot of pressure from your business. I think the solution should be on this side, try to see in your business what makes you feel pressured, and when you find a solution there, I guess from what I read, you get back to sleep, because the issue is not sleep. The issue is something that is outside. Yeah.
I think there's 2 things that come to mind here, which is of course I agree with everything you said, Neil, and I know Neil has had insomnia, so I think there's 2 things. One is the general question of like hyperarousal related to something like a business. How do you address that? And then I think there's a component of like the fear of having insomnia again. You know,
on the radar.
It's kind of on the radar, and it's like, if this keeps going on, will I have insomnia again? And you know, I think on that note, I think what Neil said and what you say, Don, is very important, which is just attributing the fact that you're sleeping so little to something obvious. There's absolutely no mystery. And when it just becomes like, yeah, I'm really stressed now, that's why I'm not sleeping, then you so easily see that
exactly
there's nothing wrong with me. It's completely natural that I don't sleep.
There is a reason. People that suffer from insomnia don't find the reason. They feel like they don't have the reason. Here you have a reason. You have evidence. During lockdown, you slept for 4 months. So it's not, people that suffer from insomnia always need the proof that they don't have any physical problem. Every time they can sleep for one night, I have a physical. No, you don't have a physical problem, right? It's the loop. It's your automatics from your brain again. So if Don suffer from insomnia, right now what is happening is the fear comes up, because if the fear, the anxiety from is this, no, you slept for 4 months, you have a great proof that you can sleep, maybe ease up on your life. And physically, actually nobody has a problem to sleep. It's so funny because physically, I'm talking physically, I know that people that I didn't sleep for nights and I didn't know what is the problem. When I'm saying physically, everybody sleeps. Even people that suffer from the worst insomnia in the world. Think about it. You didn't people that I saw people that wrote you, I didn't sleep for, my insomnia is unique because you have people that sleep 2 hours at night. I didn't sleep for 4 days. Yeah, what happened 4 days ago? You slept. And since you were born until 4 days ago, you had nights that you slept, which means mechanically there is nothing wrong with you. It's just a thought process that you have to take a break from and try to be engaged in other things and all the things that we say. But
yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with anyone really. That cannot be broken. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was going to say that I think to both the concern about business and in a way the fear of having insomnia again, the path is similar and scary. I will say scary, but it's really this one that when you had trouble sleeping and you're like, what if I have it again? Then the more sometimes you can just brush it off and say, of course that's going to happen. That's good. But when that becomes sticky, the fear of having insomnia again becomes sticky. Then the strange thing is that when you actually are willing to say, yeah, I'm willing to have that again. I'm willing to have some trouble sleeping again. I'm willing to have nights where I don't sleep much. It's okay. Then the pressure is gone. You're not resisting it or trying to stop it. It's when you're trying to stop something that you don't really have control over that becomes problematic. And in a way, same thing with business, that you probably have a lot of what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens to my business?
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty. And when you go to a place where you're like, well, if this happens in my business, that's okay. I'm willing to experience that. It's going to be problematic, but I'm not going to, I don't have control of that. So if this terrible things happen within my business, so be it. When you're willing to experience whatever happens, then all of it just melts away.
Once I think you took one example for me, I think from the capital market, and I think it really fits here because when you see, there's a phrase says the market goes down, the capital market goes down goes up the stairs and down the elevator, and we saw it on COVID because the market went up. All of a sudden, talking about the Nasdaq, that it's the 100 technology leading stocks in the US, fell in like 2 months, like boom, and there was no real reason, okay, because actually the technology sector was made more money because of COVID, because the stay-home companies, the Facebook, Apple, Netflix, more subscribers because people stay at home. And then we saw like huge green candles. The market went up like crazy after it went down, and to the much higher than what it was before COVID. And what you saw is the panic. So people that suffered from insomnia, they know what it looks like when the stock market is falling down. And then, the fear comes up again. But eventually, the chart goes up for years. So, I'm trying to make it, it's not exactly, but what I'm trying to say is that even if you feel right now that insomnia might be back, when you don't, exactly what you said, when you meet someone and he tells you, and you had a bad night of insomnia, and you're like thinking about it, what should I do? And you were up all night trying to sleep, being in bed for 10 hours, couldn't sleep for a minute, and then you have to go to work. And then you see someone at work, and he's smiling with his coffee, and he goes to you, and of course people with insomnia talks about it all the time, which is another problem. But he tells you, "Hey, what's up? You won't believe it. I didn't sleep all night. Well, what did you do?" And then it says, "I don't know. I was partying until 5 o'clock, and then I woke up at 7 and came to work." And you're not. Are you okay? And and he goes like, "Yeah, sure. I'm a bit tired. I'll go to sleep tomorrow." And you're like, "But it's not. No, because it's the fear. It's not the fact that you didn't sleep, And when you prove yourself that with sleeping less because of any pressure that you have, which is very normal, it's your business. Being independent, it's very stressful. If you can prove yourself that you can, go to work every day, go to your business, and focus on what you have to do, I would take the focus to your business and think what do it calm, maybe meditate, do things. Take it easy. Just take it easy. Do things in your, in your business. Take it easy. Do whatever you have to do, and then when you won't deal or you won't have time to sleep-related thoughts, you'll get back to sleep just like you did on lockdown. So this is what I think.
I just need to share. I had a client last week who actually, it's funny. He said, "Hey Daniel, I watched your episode on the elevators and the stairs, and it was so helpful." And I didn't even remember that where it came from, but I think that was from you, and how elevators, it's the time difference. But anyway, let's go on here. Evelia just wrote a short message here. Says, "Hello Daniel, I hope you can help me to manage the situation with my insomnia problem. Thank you." Well, I would love to help you, Evelia.
Details.
And a little more detail would be helpful. If you would like an answer here in open class, of course, if you want to work with me, that's great too. And the only thing I want to add to this one is whenever we're looking to manage something, control something, that's when actually we get more problems. So if you look at it as more like manage, like maybe it's all education. Like if you can educate yourself and get away from managing, you'll do good. But anyway, that was just a little comment. We'll go to the next one. Rudy.
Yes. Sleep doesn't need a manager.
Exactly. Anyway, I have so many analogies on that one, but we'll go to the question.
Go on. All right.
Rudy says, "Hi, I had texted you talking to you about sometimes when I don't get enough sleep and I'm not sleepy, and some other times when I don't get enough sleep and then I'm really tired and sleepy, You told me to leave a message here so that you wouldn't forget this. Absolutely. So the question, just to summarize here for us, is Rudy is a little confused because sometimes, regardless of, he sleeps a little, sometimes he feels okay, sometimes he's really tired and sleepy. What could explain that? What do you think, Neil?
Well, I'm not a sleeping doctor, so I don't really know what happens in your mind when you sleep or don't. But again, it's again the dealing with it, because maybe you don't get, I don't know, maybe you don't get enough deep sleep, or the next night I don't know, you sleep in shorter time, but you sleep deeper, and when you sleep longer time, you sleep lighter. But what I'm trying to say is I don't really think it matters at the end of the day, because it is what it is. If you're tired, you're tired. If you're hungry, you're hungry. If you, I don't know, if you, whatever, if you have a headache, you have a headache. It's like, it is what it is. And you cannot control sleep anyway. So dealing with it will just increase anxiety. You don't want to be there. Okay? It's not, don't try to control something you cannot control. I would even say, there's a phrase says that life starts when control ends. Right? Think about it. Think about it. When you control things, it's not life. Nothing happens in life. You just try to control it. And when you let go, this is when life happens. This is when you get excited. This is when you feel. This is when you leave. When you're not trying to control life, it starts when control ends. This is when every single happy moment that we had in life, or exciting one, happened when we didn't try to control it. Okay, every time a person slept in the world, every time, even someone that suffers from insomnia, when he finally fell asleep, it was because this person, I would say, he have decided, but he didn't. It's not a decision. Just let go. He just didn't try to control the sleep, and didn't deal with it. And what I'm trying to say here is, okay, maybe sometimes you sleep less, and then you feel more restored, and other nights you're more rested, and other nights you sleep more. I don't know what happens physically, in your mind when you sleep, but I think that if you deal less with that, maybe because it's still in your radar, when you stop trying to control it, maybe you're gonna feel more rested, even if you slept less or more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I think where you went was a very important one, which was like, Rudy, if you or anyone else tries to figure out why sometimes you're less sleepy and want to have more of that, I want to be less sleepy, and figure out what's going on, then you're going to have more struggle, because you're in that phase of like trying to figure it out, which is preoccupation. But the other point here, which actually you brought up with the example of the one who was partying all night and the one who struggled with sleep, is that how you think about it. There's so many things other than sleep that affects how we feel during the day. Sleep is just one portion of that. If somebody sleeps very little because they were out partying and had the blast, they're just so excited about that. They slept like 1 hour, but they feel great. Or another person who slept very little because they were sleep deprived. They were just like so busy with work, they get a little sleep, they feel really sleepy. And so there's what happens during our day and many other things have much more impact on how you feel during the day than how much you slept.
A lot of time people get confused between, and I don't blame them because I did it myself, between being tired, being fatigued and sleepy, because you feel very tired during the day. It's because of the struggle, it's because of you thinking about it and struggle. And a lot of times, maybe you had a great night. Maybe you slept a lot of hours, but you dealt more with, thinking about sleep and struggling during the day, and it made you feel more tired. And other days, I don't even know if it's rational, but you slept less and you dealt less with it because you had other things to do during the day, and you didn't have a lot of sleep-related thoughts, and therefore there was no battle, and you felt better.
100%. I think this sums it up. This is great. We will conclude there, Neil, and I hope you'll have a really nice weekend. And by the way, we have some time here. Actually, you want to share with everyone why why Israel is so well vaccinated?
Well, yes. There are two major reasons for that. The first reason is when Israel. We just had the Independent Day of Israel today. 73 years. It was established in 1948. It was established by socialists from, lefties politically, that came from Russia and after the Holocaust and so on. And they decided to, we have each person in Israel, we have like 3, it's not hospitals, but okay, I don't know if you know, but healthcare in Israel is very cheap, very cheap. You pay like $10 a month, and it includes everything. The opposite from the US. What Obama was trying to do in the US, we have it here all the time. So we have like, you can be registered to one of 3 places where they have all the record of all the people in the country since they were born until now. And it's very, very, and to get everyone to get vaccinated was like that, because it's very organized, okay? Because of the socialism and because how this country was established, it's very far, we're very capitalist right now, but back then, and it was very good for Pfizer actually to do the experiment on Israel to see how it works, and added to the second reason is political. The prime minister here wanted, we have elections like every 3 months here, because they don't get along. It's numbers, but the prime minister just wanted to vaccinate everyone to show that he's doing a great job. And instead of paying like $19 a shot, he paid like $30, and so more money out of our money. And so the CEO of Pfizer said he was called him at 3 a.m. Israel time. 3 a.m., 3:20, 3:25. I need it. And he bought like hundreds of millions, and we all got vexed. And you have the names, and everything is organized, and people were standing in lines, 1 shot, and then you get an email, and then you get 3 weeks later another shot, and then after a week we all have like green tag, so you can go into restaurants. The problem is with people, kids under 12, under 16, because right now they're doing the experiment on 12 to 16. And if this will go well, they're going to get vaccinated. Of course, you have a lot of people that don't want to get vaccinated, like a few hundreds of thousands, because of, they say there's some kind of conspiration, but whatever. The major people, and we see it in numbers, by the way. Instead of having 5,000, 6,000, think about, we have a population of 9.3 million here. And instead of having like 6,000, we had 6,500 dead from that, which is not a lot, but compared to the population is a lot. And what happened is during the time, every time, got vaccinated, like 2 months, the whole country, and a month and a half or something like that. And right now we have new, positive COVID-19, positive for COVID-19, 50 people a day, 100 people a day. It's like nothing. So we're free from that, and these are the reasons. It's always politics at the end.
I hear. Well, I'm glad to hear it's it was so effective, and that you have the freedom again. That's amazing. We actually got a live question here from Steven, who says, "Hi guys, after seeing an improvement in my sleep, I feel that I'm regressing and losing that progress. Any advice?" I'll let you go first, Neil, and I definitely have some thoughts on that. What are your thoughts when you hear this?
All right. First, we don't have all the details again, but the word progress. You made a progress when you sleep. If you, I think I said it on last episode. If someone could invent a pill that you would take it and forget that you ever had insomnia, would go back to sleep, because nobody has a physical problem. It's always the thought process. And you cannot lose the ability anyway. So if you have some improvements, it's great. First, you have evidence that you can sleep, right? Think about the nights that you slept. You had improvement, which means that you can sleep. And it's always, the letting go. They're not dealing with it. They be engaged in other things that make you feel good. And the regression is because you're dealing with it, right? It's on your radar and you're thinking about it. When you maybe just a period of time, right? See evidence and don't be afraid of not sleeping. Okay, so you won't sleep a lot. Okay, it's a period of time. Go on with your life and not try. Don't take yourself back. Don't go back to the place of thinking about it and get deeper in this rabbit hole, right? Because it's very easy. It's very tempting to go back to the rabbit hole. Oh, I didn't sleep for 1-2 nights. What's going on with me? And insomnia develops when you think about it, when you had one night that you didn't sleep, and then you think about it, and think about it, and then you don't sleep, and then anxiety, and so on. The idea is go back to where you were before, take it easy, go do whatever you have to do, and just, it disappears from itself when you don't deal with it. So
it's absolutely, and the confusing part is that when you had a lot of trouble sleeping, and then you see you're sleeping well again, and then you have some struggle again, then automatically the mind is going to be like, what did I do? What did I do? So I slept well. What was it I was doing? And now I'm losing that thing. And it's so hard to see it, but it was nothing. Sleep comes from nothing. It was when you were, and here's a different twist on that. When I say you were doing nothing, it's actually the same thing as saying you were willing to have insomnia. You were willing to be awake at night. You were not fearing it. And so when you see like looking for progress and trying to get progress again, that's again, like, I don't want to have it. I want to get away from it. And that's more trouble. But you already saw the magic of letting go, of doing nothing. And you'll be back there soon enough, Stephen.
Yeah. Daniel, look how funny it is that you're doing an episode every day and people write books, and at the end of the day, the whole idea of all the texts and words that we're saying is to reach to a place where you do nothing.
Yes.
It's
the
like,
irony.
The answer is blank. There's nothing. Okay, now let's learn how to get to nothing. So yeah.
It's the irony. The irony is like after all the pondering, wondering, learning, it's like nothing there.
Nothing.
It's nothing. Well, that's a good ending there. Stephen said thanks. So I want to thank you, Neil, for coming on again. And
thank you, Daniel.
I'll be back soon, okay?
All right, pleasure.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.